Oh, it's always a time to celebrate when I can have one of my good friends, the color analyst for the San Jose Sharks, join the show. Drew Remenda. Drew,
Tom?
looking dapper as always, even though you're just wearing a Champions fleece and a t-shirt underneath.
Bruce Lee.
You make that look better than my suits.
You're too kind, but yeah, I work at it. I can only
You do work at it.
from here down. I've got some input. Everything else, I can't do anything about it.
What are you gonna do?
Yes,
What are you gonna do? You can only control what you can control.
exactly.
That's it. You can only control what you control. Would it be fair to say the Sharks are a year ahead of schedule?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's it's, what's the saying? The plan is in ink, the process is in pencil, and Macklin makes a lot of other teams, and the Sharks do a lot of stuff in pencil. But when you look at the way this team has, and it's a great problem right now. What's going to happen with this team from now until the end of the year? Now we're talking about a very good chance of a playoff appearance. By last year, we were talking about in December. Well, okay, this guy's probably going to go, that guy's probably going to go, or they're probably going to get draft choices for him, this, that, and the other. Now they got to look at keeping guys. They got to look at maybe adding guys. So yeah, I would think Mike Greer's job got a little bit more complicated, but at the same time, he's. I think they saw earlier. In fact, it was Doug Waite, who works for the Sharks and Sharks hockey operations, was on a NHL radio call, and he said, "Yeah, without a doubt, they're ahead of schedule from where we thought they'd be to where they are now."
It's interesting. I mean, they're only 3 points behind the Knights in the Pacific. Yeah. 3 points. It's like a logjam up there. It's like them. I think Edmonton, the Kraken are up there. They're up there. I mean, Anaheim and Kings. It's still a lot that can happen. But I'm wondering, because you're right. It's funny when you're Macklin Celebrini, #1 draft pick, all the hype and everything, and then you exceed that. Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody thought he was going to be this good. I mean, he's going to be a good player, but I mean, he took over the Kings game a couple nights ago. He just said, "No, I got this." Goal, steal, assist. I mean, it's just showing the whole package. What surprised you about him? Because you knew he was good. You'd seen him play. You knew he was good. But now that you get a chance to watch him every single game, what do you appreciate about him now that maybe you didn't early on in his career? We're still early on in his career.
Yeah, and in his second year, how fiercely competitive he is, how he has got that FU in his game, how he just refuses to go quietly into the night. I think you're bang on when you said that he took over that LA game. We saw him take over the Pittsburgh game too. We've seen him do that, where he just goes, "I got this." And everybody else, he pulls so many guys into the fight. That's the one thing. Knew he was talented. Didn't know he was that talented.
Yeah.
It's funny though, this year at the start of training camp this year, I saw Mike Ricci on day one, and Mike, former Shark, and he's out in the ice again, and he's out in the ice every day with guys, working with guys. I mean, he worked with Macklin in the summer, and he said, believe it or not, he got better. He said that back in September, and I looked at him and went, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, he got better. Watch." And he was absolutely correct. But the thing that drives him is just how he just will not stop. He just competes. Funny story. He and Will Smith, they're like this. And they hang out mostly at the Marlowe's house, Patty Marlowe's house, because that's where Will lives. And of course, Macklin lives with Jumbo. And one of the things you do when you're at the Marlowe house, heck, I've done it when they were in Florida. I went to interview him for his retirement jersey ceremony. You have to play mini sticks and knee hockey with the boys. You have to with the Marlowe boys, right? And so I asked Macklin the other day. I said, "Hey, now the press was asking him all kinds of questions, so I wanted to throw a stupid one in there because that's me." And I said, "Hey, now that Will's been out for a while, has that curtailed the schedule with the mini sticks and knee hockey with the Marlowe boys?" He goes, "Yeah, we've had to change things around a little bit." I said, "Well, what's the record? How's it going so far?" And he looks at me, he's dead serious. He goes, oh, we're smoking them. So from what his dad said, Rick, well, you know Rick well.
Yep.
He said the biggest thing about Mac, it was a documentary that was just when he was just about last year, I think it came out, that the thing about him was, yes, he loved the game. Yes, he worked at it. He was always trying to be a better hockey player, and hockey was his life. But the thing about him and everything he did was how hard he competed, how competitive he was and is. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've opened my eyes, but it's also the thing that is his superpower.
Are you guys going to keep the dads around a few more games?
There's some still here.
Dads have been on fire.
They're like 2-0. Hey, that's pretty good.
You got to keep them around.
You know what the bad thing about that is? I think I told you this before. Is that when we first started all the dad trip stuff, I was younger than the dads.
Yeah.
And now I'm way older than most of the dads.
Yeah.
And the other thing is how much I've changed, because back in the day when I was old Drew broadcasting, and you know how I used to be as far as honesty goes.
Yep.
A lot of the dads and moms didn't appreciate that honesty, or wives, or pretty much anybody. And now the dads come up to Randy and me and go, "We love your broadcast. You guys are so upbeat. You're so positive." And I have changed so much. I've gotten soft, man. I've gotten soft.
You know what, though? I bet you, and tell me if this is true or not, because I think the old Drew that was brutally honest, which I appreciated, I played. I think if you talk to dads who played, they will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Family members that don't play don't appreciate it because that's all they hear. I dealt with that with my family at one point. I was like, look, it's their job. It's what they do. They talk about the game. So it's okay. I do it. Absolutely. Yeah. So, but it's their baby and they don't want to. We don't need to get into this. We've talked about it before. Yeah. You just don't want the whole thing to be propaganda. You want it to be like, hey, this is how we feel about the team. So when I say something positive, it resonates a little bit. It's not just like, well, it's always positive. What does that mean? Anyway,
it's hard not to be positive with this team right now. It's impossible.
Yeah, it really is. Fun style too.
The vibe that's going on with this team now, and you've been in these rooms, Tommy, more than anybody as a professional. When that belief system is strong, when that culture has grown to a point where you absolutely love the guys you're playing with and you love coming to the rink, it's fun to be around these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Pavol Regenda. I don't know much about him. I looked him up, 26 years old, so he's not a prospect anymore.
No.
But I didn't know who he was, and all of a sudden this dude's like, goal, 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 goal. I'm like, oh, good night. What's the story with this guy? So give us a little thumbnail sketch on Pavol.
As you know, I do the Barracuda games too when I can. I do about 16, 17 a year. In fact, tomorrow, we play the Stars tomorrow afternoon when we're recording this at 1:00, and then 6:00 the CUDA play. So I'm going to do a double header tomorrow. And the Barracuda traded Justin Bailey, the Sharks traded Justin Bailey, who was playing with the Barracuda, to San Diego for Pavol Regenda, who's an Anaheim prospect. And Pavol, Slovakian guy, was on the bronze medal team last Olympics, which is the first medal they've won in the Olympics in hockey, and it was crazy how Slovakia just absolutely embraced it. He is a big guy, protects the puck really well, extends plays in the zone better than a lot of players because he's so good at puck protection. But he does that one thing that a lot of people don't want to do anymore, and that is go to the front of the net. He knows that's his job. He knows that's where he'll score goals. I watched him with the Barracuda last year, called a bunch of the games. You're impressed with him immediately. 1, size. Can't teach size, man. You can't coach size. And then 2, his skating ability. He can get up and down the ice. 3, he's physical. But 4, he goes to that area. And in his size and his strength on his skates, it's very hard to move him. So he's got a great idea of how to play. He was glad to come to San Jose because he thought he'd get a chance to be in the NHL after being in the AHL for a while, not getting much of a chance with the Anaheim Ducks. When he came here, his training camp was great. I think in the last game against Vegas last preseason game, he got 4 points and then went to the CUDA. Now that was probably more of a contract thing it was a contract thing more than it was his skill level or his play. But I love the fact that he and Chernyshov coming up, getting these opportunities. First of all, they've been the guys that have deserved the opportunities. They didn't get the call up because they were a high draft choice, right? Yeah. They deserve the opportunities because they earned it. And now with this opportunity, they've taken it and ran with it or skated with it and been so impressive. You love guys. I don't know about you, but give me a guy who's hungry. Give me a guy who's got something to prove, that wants to show you that he belongs. I'm putting him on my team any day of the week. And Pavs has done that.
Well, look, that's what you need when you have a team full of skill.
100%.
You gotta have those guys. They gotta know how to play around Eklund and Smith and Celebrini and all those guys. I mean, so absolutely. Boy, I haven't seen a Reaves Olivier showdown in quite some time. That reminded me of like the 90s, like 80s and 90s. I was like, oh, they're just dropping the. I was telling Haley, she was watching it.
Yeah.
I go, watch this. Watch what they do after the face-off.
Yeah.
And she goes, why are they dropping their gloves? I go, you're about to find out.
Yeah.
I'll give Reaves credit, though. He had no visor, and he said, bring it. Let's go.
He took his off. Olivier kept his on. And it's always those guys. You know what? And Reaver said after, I'm 38 years old. This is going to happen to me. You know, this kid, Olivier is one of the toughest guys in the league, as is Ryan Reaves. The only thing I question on that is why then? And I know because
I didn't get it.
Yeah, he didn't need to, but Ryan's Ryan, and Olivier was going out to try to charge up his team, and they went and took a couple, and then Ryan came back and played a fantastic. I couldn't believe he first of all came back. It was definitely a TKO. He acknowledged it, and then he came back and played a great third period. And he didn't come back because he just said, I'm going. He had to pass the concussion protocol after he get dropped, but bang, he was back and played a fantastic third period with Barclay Goodrow and Zach Ostapchuk. Ryan Reaves, man, first of all, you're right. We don't see those fights anymore. We had the Tampa game was just the whole Moser thing happens after going after Celebrini, and then you've got that 5-man scrum. It's a scrum. And there's nobody fighting. There's guys grabbing each other, wrestling each other.
Yeah.
Not fighting anymore. But that's the legit old school, let's go. But it's hard to explain to people when we're talking about hockey what a guy like Ryan Reaves or what Ryan Reaves has done for the San Jose Sharks. I've talked about it a lot, the culture of this team. And the culture of this team is growing to such a positive extent, it's ridiculous. That hasn't been the case for a lot of years because when you're losing, it just sucks when you're losing all the time. Now they're winning, but Ryan's been a big part of that. He has brought courage. He's that nuclear deterrent on the bench. He's that nuclear deterrent out in the ice. Other teams take liberties. You answer for it with him. And that speaks volumes. But also the guys know. The guys appreciate it because they know how hard that job is of him. Plus, he can play still. He didn't get much of a chance in Toronto. He can play still. And he's such a great dude. Tom, you know those guys. I mean, there's those guys on your team you absolutely need if you're going to be successful. I asked him about culture at the start of the year on just a bench interview. I said, you've been big on building up the culture of this team. Why is culture important? And he went, because you can't win if you don't love your brothers. You can't win if you don't love your teammates. You can't win if you don't love it where you are. And he was absolutely right. He'll play. I think he's about 50 games away from, maybe a little bit more, away from 1,000. He won't get there this year. He'll get there next year. And I hope he does it in a teal uniform.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you about something that happened in the Kings game. That was just, when you said it, it reminded me of something that was directly analogous to the basketball court. So scores 2-2. And I want to say it was the third goal by the Kings, where they basically, for lack of a better term, the Sharks were puck watching. They weren't finding their man. They were puck watching. And it reminded me so much of offensive rebounding in basketball, where you're ball watching. You don't go find a man put a forearm into him and then go find the ball. You just follow the flight of the ball, and all of a sudden the guy behind you does something. And I was like, that's exactly what happened. Guys were looking at the puck. They were puck watching. And instead of turning around and hitting somebody and then letting the goalie find the puck or go back and find the puck, how often does that happen? Because in basketball, Drew, it's an epidemic, ball watching. We're like, can you just box out for a second? How often does that happen in hockey?
Too much. Too much. It's the same thing. It gets to that point when you know you're scrambling. But for some reason, the other thing that happens is that all communication stops. Nobody's talking to each other at all anymore. So I got him, go. You got him, and anything like that. Just a little bit of talk would help. But no, all of a sudden, they're give me that little thing. Give me that thing. There, it's right there. It's right there. And they get hypnotized by it. And they get the blinders on, and the D will cross and roll at the top, and the forward will come back, and they'll have three guys up high, then they'll have a guy down low, and everybody's this is too fast. And it happens too much. They worked on it today.
Did they?
Yeah, and they showed them video. But I'm going to go in and talk to Ryan Rosofsky right away and have another discussion with him. But you've got to, number one, you got to talk. It's free. It's easy. It helps. Got to talk. Number two, you've got to make sure you go up and through guys. What drives me crazy, Tom, is when all of a sudden I've got 6 goaltenders on the ice. When the guys are going out, they're coming out at the defenseman.
Yeah.
They're coming out like this.
Yeah.
Go through the guy. Get up and go through the guy. And even if he passes it off, bump him and give him a little shot. Go through the man. And the other aspect that the game has become, and everybody does it, stick checking. For crying out loud. Wow. Get up through the man, stick on puck, and then just a little. You don't have to blow the guy up, but you've got to be physical, and you've got to make sure you pressure. It drives me crazy when those goals were scored, and even the one that didn't count. By the time those goals were scored, there was so much room up top, and the Sharks were in the mushy middle, and they were still on the inside position at the net were two or three LA Kings. So they just got hypnotized by the puck. And it happens a lot, not just to the Sharks, happens to every team because like I said, they just get puck focused. But the Sharks did work on it. There's something they've got to do, but the biggest thing is you've got to be on your toes and you've got to be thinking, I'm going to close quick. I'm going to get a piece of the guy. And what coaches are worried about, and what players are worried about, is that they're going to get a little shimmy shake from the guy, and then bang, the guy's going to go by. Mm-hmm. So what? Go out at him, put a little body on him. If you're going to get shimmy shaked if you try to go to stick on puck, if you're trying to stick check him, yeah. But if I'm going right at the body, I'm going right at his hips, I'm going to get a piece of him. I'm going to slow him down a little bit, and then if he still is able to slide off, I can slide back too, and I'm not beat completely. But you are when you start stick checking, and you are when you stop skating.
Yeah. I hear you say that a lot. Skate.
You see how I get skate. So.
Yeah, I know. I hear you say that a lot.
Yeah, I know. The other thing you heard me say, like my son, Davis Donovan, my boys are great, and they're back home, and they'll watch the games. And I am very lucky that I get a critique from them. Mm-hmm. And my boys are brutally, brutally honest. They keep me humble.
Well, they should.
Yeah, exactly. And Dono or Davis will always go, Drewski, hey, or old man. They haven't called me dad since grade 9, right? So it's either Drewski or old man. And it'd be old man. Yeah. You got to stop saying the things that you're saying, under your breath, because we can hear them. Especially when the puck goes on the power play, it goes down to the goal line. You'll hear me say it all the time. Walk, 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 because that space is there. So you just take it and go. But they don't. They want to make that pass. So they said, you got to stop. You got to stop doing that. You're not coaching anymore.
All right, give everybody a little thumbnail sketch if you could. I know the Sharks just made a trade.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize any of the names. I know it was a goalie and a couple other players.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbnail sketch of like what to expect, or are these guys that are going to play? Are they depth pieces? Why did they make the trade? Go ahead.
Well, you can't have too many goalies. You can't have too many defensemen. Let's start with Laurent Brossoit.
If you had 17 goalies, that would be too much.
True, but Laurent Brossoit, great French-Canadian goaltender in the tradition of Canada from British Columbia in the Vancouver area. You got a French-Canadian goalie? No, we don't. He's from BC. he's been a backup his pretty much his career. But he is, I was in Edmonton. He was there too. He's really good goaltender. Now, the last 2 years, he had missed the entire 24-25 season because of a knee injury, and then he also got a hip surgery. He's coming back. He was on the IR. He was out. Then he came off the IR. The Sharks need that depth at goaltending because the guys they have right now at the Barracuda, I don't think are NHL ready, and certainly don't have any NHL experience or very little. And they're going to be good. And the kid that they've got in Ravensburger is going to be fantastic. But you've got to have an extra guy around, especially if you have any of the luck that the Golden Knights had another goalie go down last night. So
saw that.
Yeah, you got to have an extra goalie there with some NHL experience, and Laurent has that. And if he gets some time with the Barracuda and gets his game back because he has been injured, he is going to be a very, very good, worthy, valuable piece if the Sharks are able to get to that playoff position. And knock on wood, there's no injuries to goaltenders. Hill is a big kid, 6'2". He played in Chicago. He's from Davidson, Saskatchewan. So anybody that wants to know where Davidson, Saskatchewan is, it's halfway between Saskatoon and Tom's favorite city, Regina, Saskatchewan. And he's from there. Braden McNabb, who plays for the Vegas Golden Knights, Stanley Cup champion, he's from there as well. He is a big kid, good defenseman. He is a guy I thought he looked really good in Chicago. He's toiled in the minors a lot, but the Sharks are coveting size. They want size. You can't be too big on defense. And so he's another big guy who skates well, shoots the puck pretty well, good defenseman. He's not going to come in and win the Norris, but again, it's a depth move that helps the Barracuda right now, and you've got to continue to help that team grow and build your pipeline. And it gives the Sharks another option on defense. And again, two positions you can't have too much of, goalies and D.
All right. Let's talk Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics are coming up. That'll be the
snubbing that went on.
That'll be the 2 weeks this year I don't root for Celebrini. I'll be like, I hope you suck for 2 weeks, pal, and then come back and be really good. Is this as good as that rivalry's been? We had the four. What was the name of that tournament? The Four Nations. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, it started out with two brothers fighting, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm in. We're good. Let's go. Yeah. And the games were great. It was fantastic. I expect they're going to meet each other at some point during the Olympics unless something happens. Is this as good as that rivalry's been?
Yes, 100%. It used to be Canada had the dominating factor in all of that for a long, long time, mainly because Canada had, a lot of great players, but they also had the best goaltenders in the world. There wasn't anybody close. Back many years ago when they were talking to a junior coach, I think it was from Sweden, asking about going to the World Juniors. He goes, Canada should have to give everybody a goalie. Then when you want to make it even, because they did. Canada had great goaltenders. That's changed. When you look at the goaltending situation across the U.S. now has the best goalies. They have the most depth in goaltending, and they've got the big stars, guys that can win you games. And you look at Ottinger, you look at Hellebuck, the two guys that will be the 1-2 guys. They'll be the guys for the U.S. Canada's struggled with goaltending lately, and they've got Jordan Binnington, who played very well. He's from St. Louis. He plays for the St. Louis Blues, won a Stanley Cup, and played in the Four Nations. And one of the reasons he got the job was because Doug Armstrong, the general manager of Canada, is his general manager in St. Louis and really believed in him and saw what he did in the playoffs. But building up to that, he was he'd lost his fastball, so to speak. And now, hi buddy.
Lou got to join at some point.
Yeah. So this year Binnington got picked. He is 56th in save percentage.
Wow.
Yeah. He's having a nightmare of a year, but I think Logan Thompson for the Capitals is going to be the starting goaltender. Darcy Kemper is going to be – is it Darcy? Yeah, I think it's Darcy, if I remember correctly.
Sure, sounds good to me.
Yeah, he's from Saskatoon, so I might as well throw him in there. So he's going to be the other guy. But I think when you look at it, I think it's going to be that Logan's going to get the majority of the work. But over on the other side, two very different teams as far as the way they're built. The Canadian team will not have trouble scoring.
Yeah.
David, McKinnon, Celebrini, Crosby, Wilson, who's best player in Washington. Remember what Tom Wilson was?
Yeah.
And now he leads Washington in scoring.
Yeah. What happened to him? This guy, like, all of a sudden, I was like, wait. I don't remember him being that type of player.
Yeah. Maybe I should quit being an idiot, and because I can play. He's got all the tools, so he's going to be on. That team's stacked, absolutely stacked. The question is going to be in goal. Now, that's not a question for the U.S. The U.S., Billy Guerin built a team that is a team. He didn't build an all-star team. There was a bunch of guys left off that you went, really? Tomorrow, Sharks are playing, and Robertson for Dallas. He's one of the best U.S.-born players right now, and goal scorers left off the list. DeBrincat left off the list. A lot of good goal scorers. He went for a little heavier, nastier, tougher team, and it is the smaller ice surface too. It's actually smaller than smaller.
Really?
It's not going to the double IHF 200 by 100. They're going to the NHL size with a mistake when they were making the rink. So instead of 85 by 200, it's 85 by about 196.
Gee.
Yeah, it was there. It's going to be the teams will, from what I read yesterday, their dressing room will be in trailers. They'll have to go for a long walk to get out to the ice. Apparently,
it'd be like the old Key Arena when I played there.
They apparently in Italy, they did not get the memo that, this is coming up, in 4 years. So we should probably get to work on this. They've been so behind schedule on the arena. There was real talk that this tournament wouldn't go on because of the building itself. They missed their deadlines as far as, pre-game or pre-tournament games and all those things. It's going to be a very interesting venue for these guys to play in. But the players have wanted to do this. They said, even if it's dangerous, we want to go because the ice surface is going to be. NHL offered their help. NHL said, we know what we're doing about when it comes to this stuff. Let us come in and help you. And they went, no, we got this. Relax, we got this. The AAHF, who I'm not fans of. And so
Italy steeped in hockey tradition.
Yeah, exactly. So they were the same. This is the same country who missed building their World Cup stadium too, didn't they? They had to play in the old stadium.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
that's a great question.
Was telling me that way back in the 90s they missed that. So
they're probably like, we're not very good in hockey. Who cares?
Yeah,
let's get all the other stuff that we might win in. Let's take care of that. I can't wait. I mean, it's
this will be so much fun because these guys that are playing in this tournament have not played, except for Sid, haven't played in the Olympics before. Many of them. And now Sid's getting a chance with Celebrini and McDavid and McKinnon, and that group of guys. It is going to be Cale Makar. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a very good tournament.
No, it's going to be great. The only people that don't love it are the GMs.
Yeah,
they're the ones that don't love it.
I got to shut down my league. I got to shut down my league for 3 weeks, basically a month, and hope that all my guys come back healthy.
Well, that's the thing about the Four Nations, right? I mean, it was such a success.
Yeah.
And it was, Kachuk was so good. And so the whole thing could have been like, there's going to be exhibition stuff. Yeah. No, I mean, they went after it. And the Kachuk brothers obviously had set the tone there. But do you want to, if you're an owner and a GM, specifically an owner, you're thinking, okay, is it worth it? It brought some eyeballs to the sport. I think people watched that and said, oh, damn, I'm going to start watching some hockey. But then you don't want to be a team that, a guy like Kachuk gets hurt and he's out for 2 months, 3 months. But I love it. And I think the fact that it's really a legit rivalry now, it was kind of, but Canada was expected to win. I don't know what the odds are, Drew, but I would imagine it's pretty close to, pick them. Between those two, got to be the top two teams to bring home the gold.
Yeah. Without doubt, Czechia and the Slovaks, they'll be in the mix, as the Finns and the Swedes. The Russians.
What happened to Russia?
They're not there.
What happened to them?
Well, because of Ukraine and the bombing and the war.
Yeah.
So they're
I
not.
mean, I guess when the
not
country
allowed
kind
to-
of fell apart, that kind of hurt too. But God, they were so good.
That team, it used to be, is that Canada and Russia and the U.S. I mean,
Yep.
that was everybody against Russia. So you leave off this a lot of great players, but that's what the world is right now, and that war's been going on for far too long, and
Yeah.
so that's why they're not in.
Who's the best? Best Russian player of all time, Ovechkin?
No,
Fedorov's pretty good.
Fedorov it would be up there. The best Russian player of all time. Well, we had two of them here in 93, 94. And Igor Larionov and Sergei Makarov. And what I saw those guys do is I'll never forget, because I worked at Hockey Canada too. I worked for Dave King and the Canadian National Program. I watched those guys on videotape back in the day. My job was to scour over international games and scout every team and what they do and how they do it. It was fantastic as far as an education for me. And I got to watch Igor and Mac a long time, and I had the pleasure of coaching them. They're two of the greats. Fetisov, Fedorov. Fedorov's getting his jersey retired in Detroit in the next couple of days. Yeah.
You know who I liked? Pavol Datsuk.
Oh, Datsuk, Bure.
I was a big fan of him. Pavol, yeah.
Well, it's funny, you talk about Datsuk, and everybody. I asked Macklin Celebrini. I said, because he's so good at checking and lifting sticks and getting the puck, and I like he did against L.A., knocking Kempy's stick from him making that drop pass, and he picks it up and he goes. I said, where did that come from? Did you have a coach that you worked on that with? He said, yeah, at BU I did. And he said in the USHL, US Junior Leagues, he said, I watched a lot of Pavol Datsuk. He said he was the main. Yeah. And Datsuk was incredible with his stick. He was very, very good. And so Pavol Datsuk was so ridiculous in how he was able to play. But McGillney, who just got into the Hall of Fame with Joe Thornton this year, long time. He should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. One of the few guys in the forwards to score 70 goals in a year. They've had a plethora of them. But for me, I would look at, I guess it's because I'm really biased, I'd look at Igor and Sergei Makarov as two of the best Russian players of all time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They were fantastic. Hey, I know we got to let you go. You got duties tonight, don't you?
Yeah, no, not tonight. Tomorrow. So tonight is. I do. I have to press my suits. I have to do my. Of course, the biggest thing for a NHL broadcaster: get the lines. Get the lines. Anybody got lines? You got lines? Did you get the lines? Did you get their lines? What are our lines? Is someone so in? Folks. That's what we do. We gotta get the lines. Plus, I also have to write them up. I'll give you a quick story about preparing. Okay. Ray Ferraro former player, does a great job on ESPN. He's working for a TSN back in the day. And it's when the Sharks were playing Vancouver. Ray's from Vancouver. And I've known Ray forever. I love Ray to death. He's such a great dude. So we couldn't travel on the plane, of course, the team playing during playoffs. We would just fly commercial. And we're in Vancouver, and I get to the gate, and Ray's there too. And I went, we're on the same flight. He goes, yeah. He goes, just a second. And he goes up, and because he has so many flyer miles, he arranges that he and I get business class, and we're sitting beside each other. And on the plane, he starts to break out his sheet, okay? And he's got impeccable handwriting, and his sheet is beautiful. It's a thing. It's gorgeous. And he's writing everybody out, and it's this long list, and the number and the name, and it's gorgeous. And we get to Bracken Kearns, who's playing for the Sharks. And he looks at me and goes, what number is Bracken Kearns? And I went, I don't know. And he goes, what? I said, I don't know. And he goes, are you fucking kidding me? That's his favorite line. I went, what? Don't remember. And he goes, don't you work for them? Do you even follow the game at all? Now we're in business class, and his voice is going up. Right? Oh. I went, you know what? It's 48. He goes, you sure? I said, yeah, 48 for sure, 100%. I said 48. I didn't know if it was 48 or not. He goes, so he writes, it's in felt pen, writes it down, everything else. And then I sat there for like the next half hour as we were about to land in San Francisco. And I went, Ray, you know what? I don't think he's 48. I think he might be 36 or something like that. And he goes really loud in the plane. Are you kidding me? I went, no, I'm not. And he went, oh, and now he's pissed off because he has to do. He can't just white it out. He's got to do the whole thing over again, right? So
no.
His wife phones. His wife is Cami Granado, great U.S. Olympian, the Granado family, right?
Yep.
And he answers the phone, and I must have said, "What's going on?" He goes, "You know Remenda, right?" And we're not yet even at the gate. You know Remenda, right? And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, he has no idea about anything about his team, And he's mad now as we're going. And then the next day before the game at the morning skate, he's in the dressing room already. I walk in and Bracken's number is 38. And
you had one number right on each number you gave him.
I walk in and I look and I went, Ray. And he goes, what? And I went, Bracken, he's 38. And he goes, oh, Remenda. He screams it in the dressing room. To this day, we still talk about that, and I still laugh because of how mad he got at me about that.
That's hilarious.
Lines and numbers are important. That's our biggest task as broadcasters.
Oh man! All right, give me the 3 because you do the same thing I do.
Yeah.
And the only reason we do it is because there's a sponsorship attached to it.
Right.
Keys to the game. So I do keys to the game. You do keys to the game. Give me your 3 keys to the game that you could use every single NHL game. Every single NHL. If you wanted to, you go. These are your 3 keys. Let's go.
Puck management.
Okay.
Track back, neutral zone. F3 track backs, neutral zone. Shots on net. In fact, puck management I use all the time. In fact, I don't think I've gone through a game without puck management. So puck management, track backs, F3, neutral zone.
Yep.
Pucks on net. All the time.
Yeah,
it would never change. What are yours?
Mine would be turnovers. I don't use all the time.
That's puck management.
Yep, it would be a shot selection.
That's
like what kind of shots
right
are you getting? And then the other one, if I wanted to have a third one that I could put in every single game, it'd be probably floor balance. Like offensively, what's the balance of the floor when the shot goes up so you can get back on defense?
That's good.
Because sometimes you'll screw it up and there'll be 2 guys on one side. Nobody will get back on defense. You get beat in the open. What the hell's going on here? Like it's not even like that late yet. I mean, it's so funny because we do them every single game. I'm like, all right, I gotta make them up.
It doesn't change. The other one is good start. Great start.
Good start.
Yeah, you got to have that. Got to start on time. You just try to come up. Like I sit there forever trying to come up with a new way to say the same old thing that I say all the time.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Same thing. Let me see if I can maybe fool them a little bit.
Mix it up a little bit.
Throw it on there, but it's the same stuff over and over and over.
Energetic. The other day I used energetic and efficient start. Okay.
Guess what? Sponsor doesn't care just as long as they get in there. They're all good.
For sure. Yeah, Taco Bell takes, maybe.
Before we let you go, any idea when Will Smith may be coming back?
Practice this morning or practice today.
Okay.
Yeah, he was out there. He had the orange jersey on. We don't redshirt freshmen here. We just put the orange jersey on him.
Nice.
He got the orange jersey on. He was doing a little penalty killing. I think he's sooner rather than later. I think within this road trip that we're heading on. By the way, have you ever seen a schedule like this for all these years? So we've got the 2 games we just played, plus the next 6 games, they're all back to back. So we
really
Columbus, LA, which we did back to back. And now we go Saturday, Sunday versus Dallas, Vegas. Then we go on the road and we go Washington, Detroit back to back, and then finish off with Florida, Tampa back to back.
Wow.
I know.
I'm guessing the Olympics kind of probably did that, right? Yeah.
Let's get those games done. Come back, play 1 game against the Rangers, head back on the road and go to Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Chicago, Colorado, and then the Olympic break.
God, that's impressive. You are so far ahead of me when it comes to schedule. Hey, people ask me who they're playing next Wednesday. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea who they're playing next Wednesday.
Because I got CUDA games I got to do. But I'm going to I'm going to come down and visit you at one of the games, one of the Warrior games.
Definitely do it.
My boys are coming to town, and they love basketball, and so we're gonna come see the Nuggets game. So I'm gonna come visit you.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, definitely do that, and definitely stop by and say hi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Drew. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
Love you.
See you, Drew. Love you too, man. All right, there you go. There's your color analyst for your San Jose Sharks, Drew Remenda. Now it's time to talk a little handicapping with Dennis Ranahan at Quawks High Sports, pigsfootball.com, brought to you by Fieldwork, the official craft non-alcoholic beer of the San Jose Sharks. If you are participating in the non-alcoholic, like dry January, I don't, so I'm not even sure what they call it. I have no idea because I don't participate. But if you do, head over to Fieldwork, grab yourself a non-alcoholic beverage. I think they got 4 of them. I think they got a hazy IPA, a regular IPA, a blonde ale, and a Pilsner. So you can go over there and check that out. And if you happen to be over near the ballpark, the Giants ballpark, Oracle, right across from the bay, China Basin, boom, they just opened a new brewery over there. So you can go over there, have some beer, check out the bay, check out the ballpark, and that thing's going to be on fire once the baseball season gets going. So there you go. I always want to thank Fieldwork for sponsoring the show. What's going on, Dennis?
Hey, I really enjoyed that interview that you just had with Drew. You know,
Drew's great.
He's really great. I mean, and the thing I noticed is that ice hockey, we know what the NFL is. I mean, there it is, 1958 championship game between New York and Baltimore, and the advent of the NFL on television is brought to fruition. And of course, television's bad. I had a friend that I was having lunch with the other day, and he said, he's a 49er fan. Last week, a guy called him and says, "Hey, you want to go to the Seattle game with me on Saturday night?" He goes, "Nah, I'll watch it on TV." And because football is so good on TV, starting with that game and ice hockey. I'm sure you have, when you go to a game live, it's marvelous. I mean,
it's incredible
entertainment in person, but it doesn't make the transition to TV. They tried to make it work. If you got a game you care about, you're going to watch it, but it doesn't have it. They can't get it on TV to be as good as it is live. Where football, the television is just the ticket home for.
No, I totally agree. I've always told people that sport is the one that has the biggest gap between TV and live is hockey. Because you go to hockey, you're like amazed at how fast these guys are, how quick they are,
the sound of them hitting the boards and all that.
Yeah, that's incredible. That puck.
I was sitting right on the other side of the glass one night, and somebody did a face right in front of me. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's earning his money." Holy
absolutely.
I was close up that I felt the impact.
All right, let's get to some games. See if we can find some winners. Let's start with the Niners and the Eagles. And look, I hate to say it, but I'm probably not going to take this game. If I did, it'd probably be the Eagles, just because the line. I would have loved if I was going to take the Eagles, get it at 3.5, 4, not 6, where it's at now. I couldn't, because the Niners do have some weird kind of mojo going this year, where even where they're getting beat and they look like the inferior team, they hang in there or they win the game. I mean, hell, if that ball doesn't get tipped against Seattle and McCaffrey catches that, it could have been 13-10. And there is no way, shape, or form was at a 13-10 game at that. It never was, but it just never seemed that close. But the Niners have the ability to kind of just hang in there, hang around. And the Eagles have the ability to make you say, what's wrong with them? Why can't they win this game? Or why aren't they winning by more in this game? Why is the offense kind of a mess in this game? So, but I mean, you look at the Niners defense, you're like, okay, I know the Eagles haven't been great offensively this year. They've struggled running the ball. The offensive line hasn't been great this year. Hurts has been okay. They don't ask him to do a whole lot. The defense, surprisingly, Dennis, hasn't been great against the run this year. They've just been kind of average against the run this year. So I'll probably watch it. I think early on I probably would have gone Eagles. just because. But the Niners just kind of have that feel this year where they might figure out a way to stay close in this game, or who knows, win it. So I don't really have a strong feeling in this one. Do you?
Well, I have to. Unfortunately, in my business,
Okay.
I have to take a strong position in this game, and I didn't think I would. And I'm really interested in seeing the numbers tonight come through the casinos. Now, there's always a lean a little bit towards the 49ers from our Reno numbers and even Vegas numbers, because there's fans, and so they're going to bet on their team most of the time. But from the very start, right out of the chute, everybody's bet on the Niners nationwide. I'm looking at this saying, I want to check those numbers. I know it's going to come up the Niners, but I've seen as high as 70% on the Niners against the Eagles. And a game that started at 3.5, 4, and is now 6. Well, then who's moving that line? It's not the public.
Yeah.
So it's the book and the wise guys. And so, it's like, yeah, don't take it. Go ahead, just watch it. But the Eagles are going to win by double digits. You're going to sit there and say, why did I miss that one? So I love the Niners. I think Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh and John Lynch have done a great job. I didn't have any big expectations for them at the beginning of this year. They were, 6 and whatever last year. And so Paul pointed out something this week in our meetings. He said, this NFL scheduling is really making a difference in these standings. He said, when you come in last place and then you play a last place schedule, look at who the Niners have played. Look at who the Broncos have played. Look at who some of these teams that have made
Patriots.
The Patriots were a last place team. Look who they played, because they're playing a last place schedule. Then you take a team that, like the Rams or the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Vikings, the teams that did well last year, look at their schedule. And that makes a difference. Now, it's not always a perfect match from last year to this year. There's a difference in teams, but it's still when you're playing, Tennessee and the Giants and the Raiders, that's different than playing the Jaguars, the Eagles, and the Rams. I mean, it just so that he thinks they're going to adjust this scheduling pretty quick, because it's creating too much of bottom moves up because of their schedule, and almost unfairly. Al Davis used to be upset about the draft. He said, "Why do we let the bad teams pick first? We're acknowledging poor play. We ought to acknowledge better play and have the better teams pick first in the draft." Now, that doesn't help with the competitive balance that the league's looking for, but you understand the thinking. Why should we be punished for playing well and the bad teams get the advantages? Same thing on this schedule. I think they're going to have to revisit this and think it may be a little bit off. Back to the game, it's the Eagles. Sorry to say.
I don't see them ever changing the schedule, because you're going to have too many owners that are too upset with them changing the schedule, because they like having a chance every other year. They know they're not very good. They know they're not good enough as far as ownership or front office to compete with maybe other. But hell, give me a schedule and maybe I can make it into the playoffs, make my fans happy every other year. So I think they should change it, but I don't know that they will. All right, let's go to the big one. Not the big one. The big one spread wise, the Rams 10.5 over the Panthers. And I guess the knee-jerk easy one to say is, look, the Rams are way better. They got beaten Carolina not that long ago. That's going to help motivate them in this game. Thing about Carolina is they can look really terrible on the road. And then they can look pretty good at home. And that is such a monster. I don't know how many spreads in the wild card round or NFL playoffs have been 10.5 or double digits, let's say, at home. See them on the road, but not at home very often. This is such a big, big spread. How do you see this one? Like, I don't know that I have an interest in this game. My lean early was Carolina, just because Carolina. I'm figuring everybody's going to be on the Rams in this game. How did you look at it?
Well, I love this game right out of the chute. When we just match up the numbers, we go, yeah, okay, this is 43-3. Why look at it twice? And then we also have the advantage of not only the better team. Everybody knows how good the Rams are. They happen to have dropped to the 5th playoff seed because they were playing out of the NFC, West, but they have a better record than the other division winners. This is a real good football team and has been a real good football team all year. And so in that case, and then they get, from my perspective, the advantage of having lost to Carolina 6 weeks ago, I think it was. In that situation, we had Carolina that day. I had Carolina on the money line that day because it was the Rams were coming off the big win. The Panthers were. It was just work for me motivationally, and they took advantage of it. Now you get to this situation that serves the Rams because as much as they could be overconfident given the talent, they get Adams back, who they've been without the last 3 weeks. And he makes a big difference in the red zone for Stafford. Now it's there. It all is, and you get. We'll see what the numbers come in this weekend, but right now the majority of the money is on Philadelphia. Philadelphia is on Carolina. Carolina, they're betting 56% of the public is lining up on Carolina. Okay, see you at the finish line. I just and Carolina can lose at home. And they haven't won a single game they needed this year. Not a single game that they need did they win. Every time they got a chance against New Orleans a few weeks ago, boy, we could be alone in first place. Boom, they lose. And so okay, if we beat Tampa Bay, we're in the playoffs. Boom, they lose. And then beep, 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 they get in because Atlanta, beats our New Orleans play last week. Not by the spread, not by the spread.
We enjoyed that. We enjoyed that very much.
So yeah, I'm not going to make this tougher than it is. This is the Rams, and this is the Rams big.
All right, Saturday night game, rivalry game at that. Should be a fun one. Packers and Bears. Packers a 1.5 point favorite in this game. This one's a tough one because I thought, like the last time they played, not that long ago in Chicago, Green Bay was the better team. They weren't even as healthy as they are right now. They were the better team. And they ended up losing somehow. It's like the Bears just pulled the rabbit out of a hat in that game. Like no one doesn't recover an onside kick in the NFL nowadays. Well, except for that game. They didn't recover They didn't recover the onside kick. It's like, what? You just get good hop and catch the damn ball. Anyway, I don't really have. It's interesting since Parsons has been out for the year, got injured. For whatever reason, it's the Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love. He's a really good quarterback. I just don't know. Caleb Williams, he's been really good this year. I don't know. I'm gonna let you decide this one for me if you haven't, because I can't. I look at it and I go, I don't know.
Yeah, this was going to be the top pick of the week until we got the weather report today. And that can throw so much, that always throws more doubt into a play. And it's going to be bad weather. It's going to be bad weather at Soldier Field. We're talking 30, 35 mile an hour winds, maybe snow, it's Chicago in January. What else?
It'd be fun to watch.
And so that creates a concern for us. But and I actually the opening line on this had the Packers favored by 1, and then it went to the Bears favored by 1. Well, that's why I bought it. So I got Green Bay +1 in the game right there. I said, whoa, well, I like it. I like it for a lot of reasons. Okay. I like the fact that the Bears wanted to win the last 2 weeks and didn't against the 49ers. And then they could have clinched the 2 seed with a win over Detroit. And they lost that. They got the 2 seed anyway, because Nick decided not to play his starters and save them for the playoffs. And Philadelphia, gave it to Washington. So in this situation, I don't see this young Chicago team as well as they've done yet up to winning the games when it's a level table and you've got a veteran smart team like Green Bay coming in having lost. This is the third time they played in 6 weeks. And Green Bay won the first game on the interception in the end zone. They lost the second one on the the turnover on the onside kick is what opened the gates for Chicago to tie it and then win it in overtime. So now we've got Green Bay. The little caveat to this: Green Bay has not won since Micah Parsons got hurt. So are they looking at that now? They didn't try to win the last 2 weeks. So while I love teams that come into the playoffs having lost a game they didn't need, just as much as I hate teams that come into the playoffs having won a game they didn't need. Those teams always lose. Those teams, 1987, 49ers blow out the Rams for no good reason and then lose the game that Bill Wall said was the toughest loss of his career to the Minnesota Vikings, and to open the playoffs. You win that game you don't need, you're in trouble. Nobody did it this year, by the way. Nobody won a game they didn't need. At least think it would make a difference. But Chicago lost one that they needed at home against a Detroit team that had blown them out 52-0, in the second week. That should have been a spot where Chicago Now, they had a flu bug going through the Bears roster last week. That doesn't help, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't have beat Detroit in that spot. That was their spot, and the Lions won it, and the Bears didn't, and the Bears won't win this one either. Now the line's up to Green Bay favored by 1.5. Okay, that they're favored. 1.5. How often does that come into play, Tom? Before the Seattle Rams game. Hey, it's a little 4% shot. Don't worry about that.
3.4%. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm on the Packers all over the place here. We'll see what the weather is tomorrow night, actually, but I expect it to be poor. And then, as you know, weather patterns, that's headed east, that weather. So that could affect the Sunday games too when they play those East Coast games. We may see bad weather all weekend.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a game it's not going to affect because it ain't getting that far down south. Buffalo and Daniel's Jaguars in the playoffs. And look, I haven't watched the Jags play a ton this year, but when I do, Lawrence has been better. Lawrence, there's a discernible difference in Lawrence this year and Lawrence last year. Their defense obviously is really good this year. No doubt about that. Etienne has had a really nice year for him, but really Lawrence has been just a different quarterback. And I guess you could attribute a lot of that to Liam Cohn coming over. But it's so funny to me, Dennis. Josh Allen finally makes it to a playoffs. No Mahomes, no Jackson, no Burrow, and no home field. The one time that if they had a great regular season, it'd be it sets up beautifully for us. We don't got to worry about Mahomes. And we got home field. Well, they don't have home field now. They got to go down to Jacksonville and play this game. How do you see this one? Again, another one that I don't really have a great feeling on. But I know Daniel will be rooting for the Jaguars.
Yeah, Daniel will be rooting for the Jaguars, and so will I. You get a situation here where Buffalo has the highest per carry average rushing the ball. They also allow per rushing average only better than Cincinnati and the New York Giants. So they give it up and they get it. And so the question is, can the Josh Allen experience factor tip the scales in this one? That would be my major concern. Now, Trevor Lawrence, who came out of college with the fourth highest, he was 34-2 at Clemson. Both of his losses in the playoffs. He was, 54-2 or something in high school, including a 44-game winning streak. He was not used to losing. Then he got into the NFL and horrible first year, playoff the second year, a win over the Chargers when they were down, 27-3, I think, at halftime, and came back and won the game against Herbert, who's still looking for his first playoff win. So now you get Jaguars. They haven't lost a point spread since they got blown out the week before their bye week in London by the Rams. So this is a team that is playing great. Can't be overconfident. They're playing Buffalo. They're at home. They got the better defense. Yeah, that equals the Jaguars. That equals the Jaguars. And of course, the concern is, will the quarterback, Josh Allen, just will his team to a win, which he is totally capable of doing. But it's the Jaguars on my numbers.
Yeah. One that I'm kind of interested in, I don't know if I'll take it or not, but I am kind of interested in the Patriots. Like, the Chargers are going to go all the way across country, play the Patriots, and all I keep hearing is, oh, the Patriots played the weakest schedule this year. Patriots have played the weakest schedule in the last 20 years. Patriots played a historically weak schedule, which is always funny to me. It's like, it's the NFL. Like, they don't have ADs in there that's setting the schedule up for them. They get told who to play and when to play, but they've looked the part. I was skeptical early, but watching him, they've looked the part to me. I still like Herbert. I mean, I like Harbaugh. These are two really good coach teams, two really well-coached teams, Harbaugh and Vrabel, who I think is probably going to end up being the coach of the year. But if you step on the computer there, your ass is grass, okay? You are toast if you shut this thing off. 3.5.
And she heard you, Tom. Yeah, she heard you there. Yeah.
Don't love it. I'd like it better if it was 3. But and I keep thinking back to the old days. Remember the old days for the Chargers that have like the greatest team to not win a championship? It'd be Drew Brees. It'd be Phillip Rivers. It would be a guy who's, exactly. I mean, LT, Gates. I mean, they were stacked. Sayal, and then they run up against. They never could beat the Patriots. I'm having flashbacks to that. It's different teams, different coaches, different era, of course, but. The Patriots kind of jumped out to me a little bit. Not super strong, but I am curious to see where you land on this one.
Here's where I land on it to begin with. I made 3 preseason Super Bowl bets. One of them I actually took later. I took the Patriots a little bit later at 16-1.
Wow.
And I got $400 at 27-1 on the Chargers.
Ooh.
And I got $500 at 39-1 on the Texans. And so I'm set. It's not your bet with the 49ers against the
45-1 when the Chiefs beat me.
That you got the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I always buy these things off. My one preseason bet last year was Detroit. And when they played Washington, given what I stood to win with Detroit, I put a couple thousand on Washington as on the money line and picked up $5,400 or something on that, not expecting it, but getting it. Same kind of thing here. I did more math questions. I brought Paul in, who's got a degree in math from Cal. You think he could help out here? And I said, what do I do? What do I bet here? How do I cover myself? I did all the work. I went to bed last night saying, I get it. Bet the Patriots on the money line. That's how I can cover myself on this thing. Bet the Patriots on the money line. I woke up this morning and says, no. Bet the Chargers with the points. Bet the Chargers with the play. That's the play. And finally, this afternoon, I realized I can't play this at all. I'm just setting up who I want to lose with. I'm gonna lose one of those wagers, and one of my 27-1, or in the Patriots case, 16-1, is going to move on to the next week, and one of them's going to get eliminated. That's what I have to accept. I can't try to make money betting on it. It puts me vulnerable. It takes away a potential. Anyway, that said, that's been my first thing on this game. The second thing is I was talking to a friend who knows a lot about football. He's a bright guy. And I said, Kevin, you know that the Patriots scored 23 or more points 10 straight weeks this season and gave up 23 or less points in those same 10 games. And he said, oh, how often does that happen? Like it's twice a year kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I said, never. What? Never has that happened. 9 was the old record, and it was out of an AFL team, the 1961 Houston Oilers. they won the AFL championship. Going back to 1949, the Philadelphia Eagles won it that strategy 23-23, 7 times. They won the NFL championship. 3 Super Bowl era teams have done it. The 84 49ers, they did it 8 times. They won the Super Bowl. The Eagles last year, they won the Super Bowl. The 99 Rams, they won the Super Bowl. So all 5 teams before the Patriots this year, and the Patriots did it more often than anybody, won the Super Bowl or their league championship. Well, okay, so it's the Patriots, right? Well, that's never missed. That's it. Then I do the work on this particular game, and I say, what a trap this is for the Patriots. What a huge trap. You got San Diego or Los Angeles coming in, having lost their best 2 offensive linemen. At some point, that's going to catch up to them. They lost their top running back with Harris going out. Yeah. They lost a defensive back. They're vulnerable in all these different areas, and yet they play as tough as nails. And Herbert comes in 0-2 in postseason efforts. Just an amazing. Last year he was favored in Houston when they got beat 32-12. And of course, he built the big lead up against Jacksonville in the 22 season. And then, you know, as David Letterman would have said, they should have saved some of the champagne for after the game, you know, because that didn't work for the second half for them. So this is just a huge trap for the Patriots. Huge trap for the Patriots. And they've you know, the only thing they lost on the stretch was jumping up 21-0 over Buffalo and letting that one slip away every other time. Mm-hmm. You know, they've answered the bell. They beat Baltimore with a 4th quarter comeback in Baltimore a few weeks ago. You know, last week they gave themselves an opportunity, the top seed, by 38-10 over the Dolphins, like a team should. There isn't anything wrong with this team, except we take a team that's come from last place to a division title, and that usually catches up with them. It happens that they make the leap, but they don't win Super Bowls. They make the leap, and then they get tripped up in the playoffs. So I'm not on this game. This is the toughest one for me. This is the toughest one for me. I think the spread. Why hasn't that spread moved? Why aren't 80% of the people betting on the Patriots? And why is that spread stuck at 3.5? When I look at the numbers tonight, when we get it through our Canvas casinos, I'm going to see if the books are really happy getting New England money at 3.5 and leaving the spread right there. And if they are, I might be tempted to take the Chargers in this spot. But I don't think I'll be on the Patriots laying those points, and I doubt if I'll have the game at all. I usually like to do all the playoff games, but I'm not looking for, you know, if I got a crapshoot, I'm not looking to roll the dice.
Exactly. All right, let's get to the last game Monday night. A spread that did move up 3.5 went to 3. Pittsburgh was getting 3.5 against the Texans. Now they're getting 3 points. It seems like a Tomlin spot, right? You're at home, you're underdog. The Texans haven't lost in forever. They're clearly the better team. Their defense is nasty. Stroud's been playing well. I mean, there's really nothing to dislike about the Texans right now, which maybe even makes it more of a Steeler spot. I think straight up, Dennis, I think Houston's better. But man, I hate the home dog. And if Tomlin's a home dog, I tend to stay away from that. But I could probably be talked into taking the and now if I don't take them, I'll root for the Texans because I know you got them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got them winning the Super Bowl, and I put a lot of money on the Steelers on the money line here because this is the kind of thing I get to do. You know, when I'm standing to win $39,000, if they go to the Super Bowl, I can start buying off that for $2,000, $4,000, $6,000 along the road. Yeah. You know, and like I did with picking up the win with Washington over Detroit last year. So I got a substantial bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers, which means my book is going to say, "Hey, Ranahan's on the Steelers." No, I'm not. You know, not in the game. That's just an investment where I'm going to get you later, and I'm willing to pay now and pick up later. Because of this spot, the Texans defense is just too good. Just too good. You got the better defense, and they were 0-3 to start the season. At close games, 4 points against the Rams, 1 point against Tampa Bay, 7 points the next week in a loss to Jacksonville. And so boom, they were down. Now they're just playing as well as anybody. They got the best defense in the league. They got a quarterback who's making his third straight postseason appearance in his 3 professional seasons in C.J. Stroud. They got a coach that we love here in the Bay Area, that has a total grasp of this team. Their offensive line, which was a liability early in the season, has come together pretty well. And they haven't had any injuries on that offensive line. So it's not the most talented offensive line, but now they played together for 17 weeks. And that helps an offensive line a lot. And so, I don't see Pittsburgh scoring a lot here. I think they are going to just end Aaron's career right here. That they may have to take him off the field in a spatula. I think they are going to punish Rodgers. I think he's going down. The guy's going down. The Steelers, home team dog. If they win, I'm going to collect a good payday on the money line, but I don't expect to collect it. I like Houston in this spot, and I think they'll clear the 3-point line. I'm glad it's 3. I was ready to lay 3.5 and waited. Let's see what it goes. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, Steelers is a dog." They just beat Baltimore. Yeah, the kicker just missed the field goal. That would have kept Harbaugh job still in line at least for another week. So this is just too good of a defense against a very suspect offense that had their day last week because the kicker missed a kick.
Yeah. Were there any thought in hedging off of that, taking the Steelers plus a 3 and having a chance to win both, or did you just want the plus money that comes with the money?
I didn't want to. The problem with I wanted the $1.60. I wanted the extra money. I wanted that. $1.40 is what I get. It's $1.60 line. So
that makes sense.
I got the plus $1.40, and I thought about it. Do I want to pay? I pay 7, but do I want to pay 10% or collect 40? Thinking I'll collect 40.
Makes sense to me. Well, let's see if we can get some
problem. It's all a math. It's all
a math problem.
I may have told you this before, but Kevin, my son, he's in the 5th grade, and one of the projects was how does math matter, and the assignment to go home and ask your parents how math matters in their life. So Kevin came into my office and said, "That's the assignment." And I said, "Let me show you something here, Kevin." So I pulled out the stats. I said, "See that? I had Buffalo only rushing for 3.6 yards per carry. And actually it was 3.8. And when I made the number right, they came up a pick and made us money last week." So that was what he took back to his teacher in the 5th grade. Buffalo mattered in the numbers.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. It's funny. I always use this as an example for everybody that wonders how much the numbers matter and how much juice matters. I go, think of yourself as going 53-47. You're going to make a little bit of money if you're laying the 110 every single game. That's about the closest you can come to the break-even line, which I think is 52 point down. So if you're 54 or if you're 53-47, so add 4.7 to 47, and you get 51.7. So you've won $1. You've had 1.2 units. 1.2 units. So you didn't lose. Pretty good. But that's minus 110. Think about what the books are doing if they go 53-47. So if they go 53-47, the 53 is plus 110 every time. So now it's 53 plus 5.3. So now you're 58 point. Once you start putting it in those terms, people go, "Oh, wow." Like it does make, because it doesn't seem like it makes a ton of difference, I go, it makes a huge,
it's how they
difference.
stand business. It makes enough
Absolutely.
of a difference that they give you your choice and pickpocket you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the way it is. Well, let's see if we can pickpocket them this weekend. Let's
We'll
see if
have
we
a
get
good
some.
week. We had a great run in the playoffs last year, and so I'd love to have a good week, a good postseason again. And I think we'll get off to a good start. There certainly is some healthy plays out there, and the game I'm most interested in is the one I won't have, and that's New England, the Chargers. That's really an intriguing matchup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dennis, have a great weekend. We'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. All right, we're gonna get on out of here. If you got any comments, we can look here. I'll give you my thoughts real quick on the Niners and the Eagles. I think it's gonna take something like the Niners have pulled off this year against the Rams, against Seattle, against Arizona. There's a couple more games I'm even forgetting about where you thought, oh, they're not going to win that. Oh, they did win that. I think that's what's going to have to happen. I mean, the defense is just absolutely decimated, just decimated. So even though Philly's offense hasn't been great and Philly's offense has struggled to run the ball consistently this year, and the passing game has just been kind of okay, they were still an 11-win team. I think if they wanted to, they could have been a 12-win team. They would have beaten the Commanders. They didn't care about that game, last game of the season. So, but you're going to need some unexpected things to happen. You're going to need to hang around. You're going to need Philadelphia's driving. All of a sudden, they get a holding penalty, 1st and 20, and that forces a punt or forces a field goal. You're going to need a muffed exchange between the quarterback and the running back on 3rd and 3, where Barkley drops it. Even if they get the ball back, now it's 4th and 6. They don't go for it. They punt the ball. Stuff like that, I think is going to have to happen for the Niners to win. I think they have a chance to move the ball because Philly's defense is good, not great, and I think they're going to have a chance to move it against them. Again, they're going to have to run it a little bit. They can't be living in 3rd and long. Not that you can do it against any team, but you certainly don't want to do it on the road against this team. So, but that's been the Niners this year. That has been the Niners this year. Just when you thought, it's over. They lost him too. They lost that person too. They lost that guy too. They just kind of hang around. They just kind of hang around and figure it out. This is going to be tough. This is going to be really, really tough. And initially, I thought Eagles 6 is too much, but when it was 3.5, 4, I thought, Eagles. I think Eagles is a play here. But at 6, I'm gonna watch it, and I probably wouldn't bet it anyway because I'd like to see the Niners win. But if I think it's a good bet, I'm going to bet it regardless, no matter who it is or who it's against. But the Niners have done things this year. There's no way that game should have been as close as it was against Seattle last game of the season. They were outclassed in that game. And again, when I say if it wasn't for a tip ball, it was a tip ball. It was a pick. It happens. It's like saying I shot a 72, except for the 14 I took on hole 15. Everything counts. But they did hang around in that game far longer than they probably should have. So they figured out ways to just kind of hang around in this game. We'll see what the official injury report is. See if Pearsall is going to play. See if Williams is going to play. The most dangerous job in America is a linebacker for the Niners. The linebacker is just decimated. Just bye. See ya. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the Bills game's going to be fun too. Can Josh Allen put on the Superman cape? It's amazing. They were the number 1 rushing team in the league. James Cook had a fantastic year. Look, Jaguars have been good. Lynn Combs did a hell of a job with that team. Trevor Lawrence has been really good. The running game's been solid, and the defense has been really good. So, and they got a kicker that can kick it from frickin' Nevada to wherever you're playing. How far? I don't know. 7 states. He's good. He just has a monster leg. And so All road teams in the wild card weekend. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have a strong opinion, Antonio. Other than I kind of like the Packers. That's about the one. And then maybe the Steelers, but if it was 3.5, I think I'd still like the Steelers, but it's 3. See if it gets back up there. But it should be a good weekend. Should be a really, really good weekend. So anyway, I think the Niners have a chance. Is it a great chance? Probably not, but it's a chance. And that's all they've needed, a chip and a chair, as they say. And this year they pulled out some of those games, pulled out a few of those games this year. So we'll see if they can pull out one more in Philadelphia on Sunday. We're going to do a show. Bergie will be over here, so we'll do a show after the game on Sunday. So if you guys got any more comments, we can take them before I get out of here and feed this animal who's looking at me like, you're way late, pal. You're way, way late. So let's get it going. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds if you want to. If you got any questions you want to ask about the games this weekend. Dang. Starting to get, I don't know if I'm catching something. Oh, I'm just reading this at the bottom. John Morant trade talks. Could you imagine him with Steph and Dre? Hell no. No, 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 no. No, I don't want John Morant on this team at all. Again, don't just look at the talent and say, oh, hey. If you look at the players, don't just look at them at their best. Look at them at their worst, too. And at their worst, he's just – and his numbers aren't as good this year. He's declining this year. Will he continue to decline? I don't know. But I have no interest in having John Morant on this team. Not a chance. That's a great question, Joe Boo. If Saleh leaves to be a head coach, do they get compensatory pick? I think they do. I think they get another one. Like, he came back and he leaves again. So yeah, I don't know why he would. I don't know why they wouldn't. Just because it's the same guy. So I'm assuming, yeah, they'll get another. They're the kings of compensatory picks. I mean, that team loads up on compensatory picks. But just as long as they don't take a running back in the third round. Third round running backs have not been great. And so let's see. Oh, what are we talking about here? Oh, okay. You could be right, Joe Bo. Maybe he does have to be here 2 years. You might be right. I don't know that rule. I mean, I know the rule, but I don't know it in depth. You might be right. It could be Saleh has to be here 2 years. And again, what job do you want? If you're Saleh, what job do you want? Like, do I want the Cardinal job? Browns job? Like, Baltimore is the best job. Baltimore is the best job by far. Then probably the Giants after that, I would say. Dolphins, not really sure. I don't really have a strong feeling on that. I mean, you're in Miami. That's kind of cool. So you don't mind that. So, but I mean, I don't think you have to jump right back into a job. You did that. Didn't work out. I think you've proven that you can be a guy, and they're not going to. I mean, that's what they worry about, right? I'll get forgotten about. If I miss this cycle, there won't be another cycle. If you're good enough, there'll be another cycle. They'll come around. They'll ask about you again, especially if you continue to be a very good defensive coordinator. They'll come back again. And look, the Niners teams, for whatever reason, I guess I shouldn't say for whatever reason, the Niners have had a lot of success since Kyle's been there. I don't know how many assistants, assistant GM, position coaches have moved on to other organizations. I feel like it's quite a bit. I feel like there's quite a few of them that have moved on. So it seems to me they're always looking for Niner assistants to come fill vacancies for other teams. So I don't think if you miss this cycle, then the league's just going to pass you by. I don't believe that at all. So All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody has a great day. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Appreciate you guys joining in, especially those that joined in twice. Joined in for the Steve Young show and then came back about 40 minutes later for Drew Remenda and Dennis Ranahan. So it should be a fun weekend of football. See if we can get some winners, and we'll be back at you Sunday after the Niner game, Bergie and I, and then maybe I'll get Brent Jones to do that. We haven't solidified that. I'm going to see if he wants to do Sunday or he wants to do Monday. So we'll figure that out. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you Sunday evening. Until then, have a great weekend. See you.
And remember this, Tommy T. Cash and tickets is what it's all about.